Right. Good evening. Pep Talk UK. Pro Beez. Delighted to be joined by the team in the building. Kenny Ken and Benji's boxing in the building. No Lady Chann tonight. Unfortunately, she had to pull out with a severe cold, but we're hoping to have her back on Monday when Whyte and Povetkin is decided on Saturday night. But look, you'll just have to deal with the lads for now. All right. So, all right, guys, how you feeling, Benji?
Hello, all. It is fantastic to be back in the best place for boxing news, reviews, interviews, and of course these amazing live chats. I'm telling you now, Pro Beez, it's not often that I'm happy to miss MasterChef. This is one of the very few things that I'll miss MasterChef for. I'm damn right it is worth it. I can't wait to talk about this fight. Hopefully we can maybe if we're lucky, we can fit in a little bit of Chisora and Parker in the pay-per-view, because I am dying to hear Kenny's opinions on that. And of course, as Kenny's just said just before we come live on air, we've got to put in a good show for Lady Chann. It's not going to be quite the same without her on this one, so we're going to have to really pull together and put on a really good show. But I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. I'm pumped up. I'm looking forward to the weekend. It's great to be here with both of you.
All right. Well, look, Kenny, I know you were happy to come on today because of international football, which can be a real boring.
I love international football. I love international.
Wow.
Okay. Benji, I know you're not really much of a football fan, but I don't understand how people who are football fans could not have enjoyed that masterclass of football when Spain beat Germany 6-0. How they can not enjoy that? You know, it wasn't exactly like a fun blood and thunder of the English game, but it was a fantastic game of football. And anyway, you're missing MasterChef. I think I'm missing England place from San Marino. So I think boxing comes first. Also, before we go, you know, like a preview ahead of the time, a massive British middleweight title clash between Felix Cash and Denzel Bentley.
April 24th, I think. Yeah.
April 24th. Now that is going to be a humdinger. That is a humdinger, mate. Trust me, he might not get the like the highlights and maybe the promotion of a matchroom contest, but just like we had with Anthony Yard's recent fight, that is a 50-50 fight. I can't wait for that. Andy Yard, Lyndon Arthur, great fight. Everyone thought Anthony Yard was going to win it. Lyndon Arthur jabbed him out of this contest, and now we've got a massive one coming up. I'm so excited. But anyway, let's deal with what we've got in hand.
All right. Okay. All right. We'd just like to welcome in the viewers. Thanks for joining. We're going to talk about Povetkin versus Whyte 2. Will it be repeat or revenge? And we're giving you guys the opportunity to voice your predictions. All right. Okay. Right. Let's salute some of the guys in the building. Nick, how you doing, mate? Nick's saying revenge. All right. We'll get to you. Jonathan Williams. Yo, guys. Hope you're having a good evening. James Burrow, let's go, baby. Body snatcher #1. All right. Everyone remembers that time when I think Dillian Whyte beat Lucas Brown, big left hook of the O2, and he became the mandatory challenger for Deontay Wilder at the time. And we all remember that. Let's go, baby. #1. Let's go. All right. Okay. So, all right, guys, look, we've got to reflect back on the first fight. First of all, let's kind of indulge in, the whole backdrop to this rematch. Okay, so Benji, fight camp, end of last summer, the shock around the world. Povetkin pulled out of the bag. I mean, what do you remember about that shocking knockout?
Well, the first things first, what I remember was seeing it announced and being pay-per-view, and my initial gut reaction, the knee-jerk reaction was, I'm not paying for that. I'm already a Sky subscriber. I'm paying my Sky subscription every month or whatever. I'm not paying for that. And it just so happens that I've got a brother that lives next door, and he had the fight, and he would say, well, look, I've got it on over here. If you want to come over and watch it, come over and watch it. And I did, and we were sat there. I think I may have missed the first round, something like that. And by the time I got over there and sat down and settled in and whatever, we were in about round 2 or 3. And my brother was saying, you haven't missed much. Whyte's dominating. It looks like he's taking over. He's boxing very, very well. It is what it is.
Benji,
and
you interrupted again. Sorry, hold that thought. We'd like to introduce Manny Muhammad, middleweight contender in the building. A late call up, man. A late call up.
What's up, people? How you doing? Apologies. I had a little issue with my internet, so sorry for being late, guys.
No worries, man. No worries. All right, Benji, you were mid-flow. We'll let you
I was mid-flow, but like Manny's here now, and so we can later on go off into a tangent and talk about some stocks, shares, and trading as well. You can tell us where we need to put our money in these hard times of hyperinflation.
Hey, information is key, brother. Information is key, my man. You know that.
Anyway, yeah, where was I? Right. Oh, of course. So yeah, I'm watching the fight with my brother. Whyte's boxing beautifully. He's keeping it long. He's hit Povetkin twice with a left hook on the way in, and both times Povetkin's gone down. I think he got him on the chin with the first one, on the temple with the second one. Povetkin goes back to the corner, and we're just me and my brother are just talking about Whyte's future and potential fights, and would he give Anthony Joshua more trouble if the rematch was happening, all that sort of stuff. Thinking basically the fight's done. Whyte's going to, it's just a matter of time. Whyte's going to take this contest. And then out of nowhere, beautiful slip of the backhand, brings in the left uppercut. As soon as that punch landed, before Whyte had even hit the canvas, that was it. And I think we both said, well, that's it. He's not getting up. That's it. Game over. And it was shocking. It really was shocking for a number of reasons. You've got someone that was pretty much in control of the fight. That punch was very much against the run of play. It was a beautiful punch. It was a great knockout. The way he set it up, the slip, the counter, it was absolutely textbook. And the next morning I'd captured the video and I'd sent it to everyone at our boxing club, and I'd put on it, look, kids, watch this. This is what you do: slip and counter. This is what we work on at the gym. It works. This is a professional boxer that's done it in real life and come up with the goods. So there was just a myriad of things to talk about with this. And of course, Whyte straight away, he wants the rematch. And I'm thinking, is this really a good idea to want to go straight back in with this guy? So basically, that was my night. That was how I remember the last one going down. And I have to say, with this one, I'd like Dillian Whyte to win, to be perfectly honest. I want Dillian Whyte to do well. Not that I wish Povetkin not well, of course. But you know what? I want Dillian Whyte to win, but I tell you what, I'm not writing off Povetkin, and I am not that confident. I would not be putting my house. I'm not much of a gambler as it is anyway. I would not be putting large amounts of money on either of these guys. It's a 50-50 fight. And this is what you love about the heavyweight division. One punch can change it all. One punch can put the lights out. I'm going to stop rambling on and let someone else talk.
All right. Kenny, we've got to go to you, man. All right. Look, it was a big shock. Last time out, Dillian Whyte seemed to be in control. It seemed like, everything was going to plan. And then Povetkin pulled out a peach of a shot. I mean, what was your initial reaction at the time?
Well, you know what? I was physically upset because it was a big plan. I like the Dillian Whyte story. I think it's one of the best stories in modern boxing. Obviously, I do respect the fact that Anthony Joshua was a former sprinter at school in Hertfordshire, good semi-pro footballer, and he started boxing when he was 18. But Dillian Whyte basically was a basically a kickboxer, very good at it, MMA fighter, but his technique was all over the place. Like, his feet were wrong, he was off balance, yet he still had speed and he still had boxing ability. So for him to firstly shred all his weight, get himself into live the life, and then be able to sort of hone his technique, I really, really bought into him, and I really do think he's a world-class heavyweight. So I felt gutted. I couldn't sleep on his behalf. I felt like it was my brother in there losing the fight. But in terms of the fight, just like Benji says, in complete control. I thought he was a bit mechanical, and I thought maybe there was too many cooks that that sport the broth in terms of like the advisors he has. Like remember, he brings in Dave Caldwell into the team in the 11th hour. But in saying that, he used his jab, used his right hand. He was moving. Povetkin was getting desperate, trying to slip under the jab, and was getting caught with the left hook and on the temple, on the chin. And then what the mistake Dillian Whyte did was the actual punch he did, because Povetkin, what he was doing, he was still doesn't change what he does. You know how shorter fighters, they like to tuck in and get under the jab and then go for the body. So he's gone for the body. And then what's happened is that what people didn't realise is, I think the reason why Dillian Whyte didn't see the uppercut coming is because what Povetkin does, he was like this, and he throws it like a left hook, and then he comes up. And I think that's what took Dillian Whyte by surprise, is that he thinks the left hook's coming, so he's got it up. But then he leaves a little gap where in the 11th hour, he changes his mind, left hook, up. And I think that's what done Dillian. And I think what Dillian's going to have to do in a rematch is change the angles of the attack, go for the body as well. Povetkin does not like the body. He's looking for. He's actually prepared for like the jab, and right hand, because he's always set for that, and he thinks he can counter the left hook. So basically, it's jabs and body shots. He doesn't like them. You don't like them because you're in a fight with Joshua as well. It was Joshua's body shots. Then it was the uppercuts that done Povetkin. So maybe if Dillian can not just rely on the sort of the hammer of the left hook, maybe a few uppercuts, combinations, bodies, and keep it arranged as well. But what you should do is vary the attacks and move. Povetkin's 41. Don't move him around and hit him. You don't have to knock him out. But if he's there for the taking, he's wobbling, don't let him off the hook. Bang, get him out of there. But if you want to win on points, jab, definitely. But make sure that you're in good physical shape, because there's times where in fights where Dillian Whyte is lagging, especially in the championship rounds, where Povetkin is always going to be able to do that left hook, come uppercut, and that's where Dillian Whyte won't have enough recovery time. So I think Dillian Whyte will win this, and he'll win it comfortably, but he just has to, go back to the basics, go back to his skills, move a lot, and use various attacks, and definitely use the body, and like I said, it's a left hook. Remember, watch out for the left uppercut, because it's going to come like a left hook, but it's going to land like an uppercut. So you need to be careful of that. Because remember what he did to David Price as well in the first two fights, where especially the one where David Price was basically out cold and he left his hands down. It was basically his run, basically sprinted towards him, uppercut, turned it in, like left hook, turned it in, boom, and that's what took David Whyte's head off. So that's what Dillian's got to watch out for. But remember, he's a better fighter than Povetkin. Povetkin's, party's best, great amateur, great fighter, but he's over the hill. Remember, you're the better fighter, and don't let that knockout get into his head.
All right, Manny, over to you. I mean, you do this shit for real. So from a technical perspective, you can kind of break down, why the upset was caused in the first fight.
I don't know why people call it an upset. You're talking about a former world champion. How is that an upset? You know what I'm saying? Like, how is that an upset? I mean, Povetkin has a very extensive amateur background. He's fought the best at heavyweight. He's been world champion at heavyweight. Dillian Whyte has not been world champion at heavyweight. He's fallen short. I love Dillian Whyte. I know him personally, and I actually had a dig at him one time. I was like, "Yo, dude, you're fucking up your money, because that you should have had that." But it's easier said than done. Dude, you're fighting heavyweights with 10-ounce gloves. Like, all it takes is one shot, as we saw. Like, I don't think Dillian Whyte did anything wrong. He got hit with a jab. Povetkin slipped his right hand and countered. It happens, and it's not like we're talking about some powder puff heavyweight. Povetkin is knocking 6'9", 260-pound guys out cold. You could say it's David Price, but David Price is an absolute man mountain, and he's putting them to sleep.
Huge.
So
Yeah.
he's huge.
It makes me look like Kevin Hart, man. When I step beside him.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that was an upset at all. I actually think if he underestimated Povetkin, that was a huge mistake because you're talking about I mean, for a heavyweight, 40 years old is. I mean, obviously, 40 years old is not. You're not a spring chicken no more, but that's a huge amount of experience under his belt in boxing for that long. And if it was like a featherweight or a welterweight, you can say 40 years old is old, but not when you're that big. You can hold that weight a little bit better, with age. I mean, look, if George Foreman was 45 when he won the world title, so I don't think 40. I mean, Klitschko gave both Fury and Anthony Joshua a run for their money. At one point, we thought Anthony Joshua was going to get stopped.
And you remember that fight against Joshua in Wembley? Klitschko was moving real nice that night. I remember that. On the balls of his feet.
You know what? I mean, I had Klitschko to win, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, I just feel if Dylan Whyte comes, it doesn't come with a better game plan because he wasn't very cautious. I don't think he took Povetkin I don't think he looked at him as a dangerous opponent. Maybe he overlooked him because that was a very I want to say that was a schoolboy error. Without criticizing him because it happens. But if he was a little bit more careful, man, when you in that ring, man, it's you're in danger at all times. And he just fell asleep for 1 second, and that was all it took. That was all it took. It wasn't even like a big shot. It was just a clean shot that connected perfectly. He didn't throw it with any, evil intention. It was a routine jab, slip, uppercut, routine. It just happened to land. So that's the danger of heavyweights. You could be losing a fight. Look at Deontay Wilder. He can't box. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows Deontay Wilder can't box. He probably knows he can't box. But at heavyweight, Ortiz was whooping his ass twice in both those fights. Heavyweight punches. I mean, and to be honest with you, they say Deontay Wilder's got the biggest punch, and I don't think I think Joshua hits harder than Deontay Wilder, in my opinion. I think Joshua hits harder than Deontay, but it's the heavyweights. You're hitting with a lot of velocity and a lot of weight behind that velocity. So, man, I think Dylan Whyte should. I hope. Well, I'm pretty sure he's prepared a lot better than he did before. But he's going to be very careful this fight. He's not going to be as aggressive as he always is because he's an all-out aggressive guy. Forget about boxing. I know Dylan Whyte personally. He's an aggressive guy. He don't give a shit. He's a road man. You know what I'm saying?
He's real road. Yeah.
He don't take no prisoners, and that helps to a certain extent, but it can also get in trouble. So you really have to be careful at the elite level, which he's trying. I don't think he's there yet. At the elite level, you have to polish your game just that little much more, if that makes sense. Because as you can see, you fall asleep in 1 second, it's a wrap. Good night.
All right.
So
all right, man.
I'm not gonna put money on either of them, but I think it's gonna be an explosive fight, man.
Real explosive. Guys, smash that like button. Manny Muhammad, Benji, and Kenny Ken in the building. All right, let's kind of engage some of the viewers, some of the comments. All right. Michael M. Most rematches end with the same result. Fair to say that, Benji?
I don't know. I mean, I'm a kind of facts and statistics type person, and without those facts and statistics of every single heavyweight or boxing rematch, I don't know if Michael M has sort of extensively researched that and has those facts and statistics from BoxRec or whatever, then yeah, I'll take it. If it's an opinion, then obviously I won't. In this case, I think the fact that Dillian was boxing so well and seemed in control of the fight, I think himself, his team, his fans are going to be of the opinion, well, maybe there was a slip up. Maybe he took it a bit lightly. Maybe he took his foot off the gas and relaxed a little bit because he thought he was in control of the contest. and he won't make that little mistake next time. And it's kind of a case of, you're saying the result of the last fight was down to a Whyte mistake rather than Povetkin doing something very, very well. Now, if you're a Whyte fan, that's your mindset going into this. I'm a little bit more. I want to give Povetkin a little bit more credit than that, because he set that shot up. He did not throw that shot with his eyes closed. He didn't throw that shot as like some sort of Hail Mary punch, you know, where he had his back to the ropes and, you know, he just swung for the fences. He set that shot up. He set the trap, he let it go, and he landed it perfectly. So to say that it was just a Whyte mistake would be wrong. Lady Chann's in the house.
Lady Chann in the building. All right, she made it. She made it.
I felt too guilty to lay down. I've got a stinking cold, but I needed to see the lads. I had to.
All right, okay, look. Now we have two Cockneys in the house, Kenny Ken and Lenny Chann, in one live stream. How about that?
Yes, Kenny boy. What's up?
All right. Sorry, Benji, I believe you were mid-flow again.
Sorry,
well, not particularly, but I'm just saying that anyone that's, again, just don't write off Povetkin. If you made the mistake of writing off Povetkin in the first fight, saying it was a foregone conclusion because this guy's over the hill and Dillian Whyte's on the ascendancy, and this is just a kind of a little bit of a speed hump in Dillian Whyte's career, it wasn't. And if you're going into this rematch saying, oh, well, Dillian Whyte just made a little error and things are all going to be fine in this rematch, he's just going to box his way to comfortable victory or whatever, again, that's a mistake. Don't, as I've just said in the comments, as long as Povetkin is in the ring, he is dangerous. He can box, he can set up a shot, and we know he can counter. So, you know, back to the comment, Michael, you know, I'm not going to disagree with that. I think a Povetkin win, it's just like Manny's just been saying, it's not an upset. It wouldn't be an upset. Let's stop discrediting or downplaying Povetkin. He is a hell of a heavyweight boxer. I'll throw the mic over to someone else.
Okay, before we go over to Chann, right, I would say Lennox Lewis, right, he totally turned Michael M's comment upside down. Remember McCall, he dealt with McCall, Hassan Ratman, he dealt with Hassan Ratman. You know, the rematches don't always end with the same result. But I guess maybe if you accumulate them over, you know, over a vast number, you might say that. But Lennox Lewis, you know, have a look at his resume. He won his rematches when he got defeated. All right, okay. So, Lady Chann, right? We were just kind of talking about the upset in Fight Camp last year, end of the summer. We were talking about the shock. Well, for some people, it wasn't a shock because, you know, Povetkin is a good fighter. But in terms of how the conclusion of the fight transpired, what was your kind of initial reaction at that time?
Like, I was shocked that Povetkin went down, not once, but twice. That's how shocked. I was shocked on that level. So once I acclimatized to that shot, I was like, it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same Povetkin. It's not the same. So, yeah, Dill's going to be able to get him out of there then, because obviously this is more of like a gun shy or, you know, more of an aging Povetkin. Because I wasn't prepared to see an aging Povetkin. I wasn't prepared for it. So when I saw him go down, and I was like, okay, yeah, all right, cool. So Dill's got this. But yeah, I noticed he kept trying to set up the one shot, like going to the body. And it was like, at first Dill was quite good at being able to sort that out. But once he tucked in, Povetkin did like, it was like, it wasn't like a feint, but he kind of made you think that he was going to go in for like a left hook, but he kind of mid-flow changed it, like kind of went and then bam with the uppercut. So it was a weird one. Perfectly timed. Saw it being set up, but yeah, lights out. As soon as I saw the knockout, and plus we was just getting. This was kind of like the first major fight that we saw without a crowd, so it was mad airy. So it was all
yeah.
Like how he hit, like he was out before hitting the canvas. Like I was worried, like I was super worried, and it was just game over. And I think in this approach, it's like I've got two mindsets with this approach. Like, because I know Dillian, he wants to kind of go in there and get him out quick, like because he didn't apply this maximum violence theory with the first fight. Because I think he kind of wanted to show that I'm not just a brawler, I can box.
Box, yeah.
But you can't outbox an Olympian. It's not a Russian Olympian. You can't. I respect Dillian Whyte's come up, but you can't outbox boxers if you're a brawler. So it's not. So he tried. I respect that he tried to show something, but that lapse in his concentration made him pay the penalty. But in this fight coming up, like I said, I think he kind of wants to rush in there and kind of get him out. And my mind frame is like Povetkin is dangerous in the first 5 rounds. This agent kind of like he tends to gas out after around 5 and 6. So I'm kind of like in two minds that if he has to get Povetkin out, I feel that he gets him out in 4 rounds.
Wow.
But then I feel he gets him out in 4 rounds. But if it goes beyond 6 rounds, in my opinion, I'm a bit conflicted because it's like the longer that you've got Povetkin in there, he can always set up that shot, or he can always outbox you. So it's one or the other, but I don't see it going past the 6th round. So I think Dill's got this, like I said, like I've been saying, it's a 60-40 on Dill that he gets the win. But I would not be shocked if Povetkin pulls that cat out of the bag again, because that is Dillian Whyte's kryptonite, the uppercut. Every time he's been sparked out cold or lost the main of his fights, Anthony Joshua uppercut, like that's his kryptonite. So how can you train for that in camp? You're just gonna have to train to be able to block face and body simultaneously, which is possible, but who knows?
All right. I've got to say, I've never revealed this in public, but when it happened, I was actually eating jollof rice, and I actually spilled my jollof rice on the floor at the time, and I was like, damn, you know. But
I'm gonna
all right.
tonight.
All right. On a serious note, we've got all right, big up the signature for the super chat donation. All right, KK, where does the loser of this fight go? If Dillian is still improving, how good can he be? If Povetkin wins, who is next for him? Respect Ken. I think that's like Kenny Ken.
You know what? I'm going to be positive. I'm not contemplating a Dillian Whyte defeat, because I still think that Dillian Whyte still got world-class ability, and I still think that he will take out Povetkin, and I still predict that Dillian Whyte can do it on points. Mm-hmm. But in terms of like where Dillian Whyte goes, he's getting into gatekeeper territory. You know what I mean? Like our good friend from Finchley.
Chisora.
Yeah, he's getting. I think Dillian Whyte is better than that. But if you lose at the highest level, especially in succession, then there is nowhere to go. In terms of Povetkin's it's a lot. Povetkin, in my opinion, and in the interest of fairness, should, if we have a fight between Joshua and Fury, should be, if he's in Fury's was it WBC champion, and Dillian Whyte was before Fury. Dillian Whyte wrongly lost his drug test. He was like the number one contender. I think that's a fight for Povetkin. Who knows? He can get revenge on Anthony Joshua. He can fight Fury. I think that he's definitely in line. I know people talking about Usyk and everything. I think, nah, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that fight.
Usyk's just come, innit? He's
exactly.
Just come.
I mean, no disrespect to Derek Chisora, but beating Derek Chisora, wasn't a difficult fight for Usyk, because Usyk's skill set is very, very high, and Derek Chisora despite the fact that David Hayes sells us ice, even though we're Eskimos. The fact of the matter is that Derek is willing, you know, like I say, he's a bit of a clubber, but his feet are too slow. His feet are too slow. He runs out of gas. You're not going to be fit. I know what Mo says, but in terms of like Derek Chisora, I just think that Derek's that just outside that higher level, and I think Dillian's just above that level. So, really, truly, Dillian needs to win this fight, and then get back where he was before. Personally, I think it's a disgrace that he's had to fight jump so many hoops to get to that level where he should have been, you know, in a world title fight long before.
Everyone can say that.
I thought that was an absolute disgrace. I think it was because of the Deontay Wilder, Fury, Sega, and then Aaron wants, you know, Joshua versus Wilder, and then when Wilder loses, it's Fury, Joshua, and, you know, what about Dillian? You know what I mean? Fair's fair.
Okay, Manny. All right. Thomas Vase said Whyte in 6. Now, I think in the first fight, did he put Povetkin down in the 4th? Was that right? I'm sure he put him down in the 4th.
Yeah, was it once in the second and then on the fourth?
The 4th or the 3rd? Yeah, he did knock him down.
But when was the knockout? Wasn't the knockout with Dillian in the 4th, or was it in the 5th?
No, it's the 5th.
Dill got okay, so Povetkin went down in the 4th. The last knockdown was in the 4th. Yeah.
Was it the 4th or the 3rd? I'm not. He
got knocked down twice.
In
the 4th.
In the 4th. They were both both in the 4th, and then Dill come out in the 5th. I thought the knockout was in the 4th. Yeah.
So, Manny, what are you saying? I mean, 6-round Dillian Whyte, is that realistic, or will Dillian Whyte be a bit more cautious this time round and maybe do what Joshua did to Andrew Ruiz in the second fight and just...
Dill can't do that. Dill can't do that. Dill can't do that to Povetkin. No disrespect to Dillian Whyte. Hey, like each and every time, Jamaica with Cesar, but like each and every, I can tell the truth. I have to tell the truth. Nah, you can't do that. You can't do that with Povetkin.
That's not his style. I don't think boxing is Dillian Whyte's style, because he always gets caught up in a war. He doesn't know. I don't think he has the composure or the cool head to actually box. I think as soon as he gets hit with a clean shot, he wants to retaliate immediately, and that could be detrimental to his success, because you can't get caught up in a war. Obviously, sometimes you got to bite down on your gum shield and go for it, but you have to listen. A good boxer will always beat a brawler. So you have to be careful against guys like Povetkin. You can't go guns blazing, because he'll pick you off. You have to be smart. I'm not saying Dillian Whyte should change his style completely, which is an aggressive style, but believe me, if Povetkin sees holes, he's going to pick him apart. So he has to be careful. And this Whyte in 6 talk, this is going long in the 6 rounds. I think it's going long in the 6 rounds. Yeah. This might go to distance.
No.
Do you know what? But from a technical point of view, like Manny, Dillian Whyte, right, he's got very long arms, right? Yeah. And when he does remember he used to use his jab a lot under Mark Tibbs. He used to double up the jab a lot, and that used to kind of be the springboard for him to finish off his opponents, right?
If you got long arms and you're not using your jab, then you're not being coached properly. If you got a reach and you're not in your jab, if you don't throw more jabs than any punch, if you don't throw 3 times more jabs as any punch, you're not being coached correctly.
Okay, but what about, we're talking about the jab, you know, being a key weapon, and that can take you around the world. And that's the saying in boxing, right? A good jab can take you around the world and back, right? Lawrence Okoli, world champion, just last weekend.
I know Lawrence. I know Lawrence from back in the day when he was like a 16-year-old kid watching me spar with all kinds of you know journeyman foreigners coming into the UK. I am so impressed with that kid, man, because he's come a long way, man, and he's still improving. He hasn't even scratched the surface. That guy's going to be something special at the heavyweight division. I'm telling you right now. He's going to put on some weight, and that boy's going to cause some ruckus in the heavyweight division. I know that kid personally, he is going to grow, and he's very smart, and he's got his head screwed on correctly. He's gonna go far.
The source. All right.
I promise you, he's gonna go far.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, Benji, right back at you. All right. If Dillian Whyte gets put to sleep again by Povetkin, would it be the end of his career? Says Barry Wilson.
No, I don't. I don't think it'd be the end of his career, but it puts him in a really sticky situation because I think the general consensus would be Dillian Whyte is not in that elite bracket. He's not, in that place where you put him with sort of Fury and AJ. A lot of people would put Wilder in that bracket. I'm not so sure. But saying that, just ideas popped into my head. If Dillian Whyte gets knocked out or stopped again, maybe Wilder will actually fancy it. Maybe Wilder will say, well, actually, this guy can be stopped. All of a sudden, he might get a taste for wanting to fight Dillian Whyte. So you never know. Stranger things have happened. Boxing's a very weird thing. If you look vulnerable, you look weak, you look like you're able to be knocked out, all of a sudden, everyone wants to fight you. When you go around looking invincible, like with Lomachenko, no one wanted to fight him for a very long time. Starts looking a bit vulnerable against Luke Campbell.
No, he wants him.
And after Lopez beat him, all of a sudden we're not even, because we're talking about the Tank, Lopez, Haney, and Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, but Lomachenko can still duppy a good few of them the same way. Let them feel that he's a weakling. Let them go and do it. Loma will duppy same way.
But this is how crazy it is, isn't it? We went from Lomachenko's like this invincible matrix thing, and then we've gone from that to talking about these other four fighters and not even talking about Lomachenko in there
anymore.
Which is daft. It's because he still beat he beat the vast majority out there. He probably beat most of them.
Next day you ain't shit. That's how it goes.
Yeah, boxing. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
One day you're the best on the planet. Next day you ain't nobody.
That's it. I mean, so the thing is, when I saw this question, my initial reaction was, well, Dillian's going to find it difficult, and there is that danger where he slips into that sort of Chisora Price territory, where he gets seen as this sort of a gatekeeper type thing, and you get used as a rung on a ladder to get up towards a fight with Fury and AJ and that sort of thing. And that's not a great situation to be in. But then on the other side of it, if Dillian were to lose this, there's people like Deontay Wilder who might actually start saying to themselves, well, they start getting a feel for that fight and think, well, hold on, if I go in there, I can knock out.
Whyte better not lose this fight. That's it for him. I promise you, that's it for him. Forget that world title. Because realistically, he should have got a world title shot a while ago. Realistically.
Well, yeah. So, I think it, what I'm saying is, if he loses this fight and chooses to continue with boxing, it's going to be a very different.
Back to the queue. You got to go all the way back.
He's not going to be seeing those title shots. So
isn't he not in any other? Can he be in any other like the WBA? Is he ranked there? Sorry, I'm is he in other rankings where he could go for? Through that
I don't think it's about ranking. I don't even think it's about the ranking of the belts. I don't think it's about the belts. It's about that pecking order. When they put Povetkin in front of Dillian Whyte, Povetkin was there almost as a gatekeeper. He put back in, then you might get a shot at a title, because that was not a guarantee for him to get a world title shot by beating Povetkin. But I think they wanted to put him through all kinds of hoops just so that they know, okay, this guy that really deserves this title shot, and he stumbled. That's just how I see it.
Well, you've also, and then compounded on top of that, we're talking, we're in the era of, any fight that can be made pay-per-view gets made pay-per-view. And then, if Whyte was to lose this, is he still a pay-per-view draw after that? it's going to be very hard to sell a Dillian Whyte fight as a
What are you
pay-per-view.
talking about? Derek Cesaro's a pay-per-view.
Yeah, I knew that.
Isn't he?
Yeah,
Derek
but-
Cesaro's a pay-per-view. Come on.
And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
This, we'll get to Derek Cesaro later anyway. Jesus.
I hope we do. I really do. I was going to get the popcorn in specially for the Derek Chisora rant.
I can't hate on anybody getting that pay-per-view money, man. It's a hard way to earn a living.
Manny, we'll get to it later. We'll get to Derek Cesaro later.
All right. Okay. So Brummy Bear. All right. This is your neck of the part of your neck of the woods, Benji. Brummy. All right. All right. Povetkin looked like he dropped off slightly in the Whyte first fight. Certainly dropped off from the Povetkin who fought Hunter in 2019. What doesn't drop off though is the brain smart. So all right. So I'll kind of direct this at Kenny. All right. Look, I fought out in Saudi. Povetkin, I always knew that, you know, given his resume, that he was a top fighter. He was a top elite fighter. However, watching him up close in Saudi that night, when I saw Michael Hunter, like literally, he was all over him. First 6 rounds was all over him, right? And I was saying to the person sitting next to me, look, this fight's done. I said, this fight is done. And you know what? I was so wrong, because the way Povetkin used those ring smarts, the IQ, and basically came back into the fight to earn a draw, really showed me what this man's about. You know, this guy is...
This is why I said this fight is not going to be done in 6 rounds. That's precisely what...
It will. It will be.
Where
did you go?
Is Manny frozen?
Manny's frozen.
Manny's frozen. Someone else.
Chann, what did you do? What did you do to him?
I tagged him out. Manny,
Nah, but you know the situation in terms of, like, you know, the Povetkin, you say, you know, Manny's right. You know, he's got a very, very high skill set because of his pedigree. But you remember I've seen Povetkin. Remember when he fought Hughie Fury as well? Everyone thought that was an age of Povetkin. Hughie Fury, you know, like, he's fought at a high level. I think he's got, you know, done by Plulev. He fought with Povetkin with easy touch. Povetkin wins that by a mile. Not on his power, on his skill set as well. The movement, the jab, in and out with the body and everything. And that's why I do worry for Dillian Whyte. But maybe I'm biased. Maybe because I'm a massive, massive Whyte fan. I do think that Povetkin is going to bring a lot to the table. I do think that in terms of, like, the skill set, I understand where Manny's come from. That if it goes to the, you know, judges' scorecard, that it could be a situation where Povetkin can win by a split or unanimous. But I still think Dillian can do that as well, because people talk about Dillian always getting the war, but when he fought Parker, there was a bit of both in that fight where Dillian manned him up, but he boxed him as well. Obviously, the thing I didn't like, Manny will agree with me as well, was when the tank kind of ran out in the 12th round, and maybe, you know, if Parker had more minutes, more seconds, he might have put him out. But I do, when people say Dillian's more of a brawler, I respect that and understand that. But there is boxing ability as well, and I think that Parker fight, you know, we saw a bit of that, and I think that he can bring that to the table with Povetkin. But ultimately, Povetkin is a more seasoned boxer. His skill set is high, and he is a really good boxer. Plus, the dangerous thing about him as well, he's a banger, especially with that left uppercut come left hook. So, I think it's going to be an exciting fight. I do think that, you know, if it goes to points, I do fancy Dillian Whyte to nick it on a split.
Okay, look, guys, smash that like button. Subscribe if you ain't subscribed already. Subscribe to Lady Chann's YouTube channel as well, Benji's channel. Support Kenny Ken, Manny Mohammed. All right, so Chann, right? There was that question about if Dillian Whyte lost, would that be the end, sort of thing. I don't know. Like I said, for me, this whole thing in boxing, right, is done. You know, the Mayweather's long retired, right? No one's going to be out here undefeated, all right? People are going to lose fights.
Even Fury.
Fury is a master boxer. Let's wait and see. I mean, he's still got, you know, some more time left in his career. Let's wait and see. All right. Yeah. But okay. So what National Line is saying is, look, it's not the end of his career. If he lost, he would just have to drop down a level. Hunter, Huey, Parker level. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, kind of like, I don't know Dillian Whyte, but like kind of what I gauge from him. Would he want to do that? Would he want to?
Paper.
Yeah, he said
are paying.
He said he just like fighting. But you see, when you get to like world or just on the teetering of world elite, right? And you get that taste of what that brings and the treatment that you get, and you get flown out to Gibraltar, and you get money on you get your face on a coin. You're saying that you're staying in a yacht, your face off on a harbour, this and that. Everybody caters to you every whim. It's not like that once you drop down a level. So will he want to participate? He could participate in that, and he could dominate quite well in that. But would he want to?
Yeah. Well, I actually.
What else are you going to do? Well, I mean, I don't know Dillian Whyte either. Maybe he's got other business skills and acumen that we don't know about.
He manages fighters anyway, so he could do that.
Well, that maybe just go into management then. Maybe just go into management.
I think there's still, if it doesn't go right on Saturday night, there's still big fights. You mentioned Wilder. If him and Wilder start talking trash on social media, that fight's ridiculous.
That's a career ender. You cannot lose twice to Povetkin. That's a career ender.
Good fight.
Oh yeah.
In the top 10, next fight. It just depends how far he falls down in like rankings and how those other lads are going to be. Why should I bother fight you? It just depends. So he may be forced to go really down to the Hunter, Huey, Parker level.
Guys, you know why I'm laughing, right? It's not at this whole conversation, but it was like, you know, as Manny says, when a fighter loses, all of a sudden you're picking holes into, you know, what they, you know, about their ability, and you forget what they did really well. It was like last year when, you know, Anthony Joshua had his rematch with Ruiz. All of us were thinking, what's going to happen with Matchroom? What's going to happen with Sky Box Office? You know, how are they going to survive if AJ wins the fight? And I'm thinking, hang on there, this guy, AJ's got so far, you know, and then he loses the fight, he can still, you know, win the rematch and get back to the table. And I think that's what we got to think about. Right, obviously, because he got knocked out, we're forgetting the good things he did in that fight and the good things he did in his career. And I think that once I know this sounds overconfident. Once I'm going to say it now. Once Dillian wins convincingly, he's going to be back on the table. But I'm going to say something controversial. I don't want him fighting Wilder. I don't think either of them should be fighting each other because it's a dangerous. No, what's the point? What's the point? They're trying. You know what I mean? But they're trying to get into into a situation where they're waiting for their title shot. Before, you know, a few months ago, Wilder was waiting for a rematch with Fury. Dillian Whyte, before he got knocked out, was like #1 contender. Why are these two fighting for? Why?
Yeah, I disagree, Kenny. I mean, if as being part of the boxing public, if Wilder Whyte was put forward to me, sold to me, I'd love it. I'd
love it too. I won't lie to you. I would love it too.
I would pay per view for that, and I won't complain.
I just want to see the press conference.
Would be great. Yeah. I think the press conference. I think the build up, but I think the styles. I think the styles in the ring would be really good as well. I think
Wilder would never fight.
I don't see it happening though.
No, it won't happen because there's no belts at stake. Wilder will never fight without a belt at stake.
Even if there was a belt, Wilder's not fighting no one, mate, on substantial levels. So let's just stop talking about if Wilder pulls out. Wilder ain't done nothing for 14, 15 months. Get out of here, man. He ain't in the equation.
Is it that long?
He ain't back. Well, since February 2020. We are now approaching April. He ain't in the equation. He don't say nothing. We should stop putting him in
the thing about Wilder is a huge draw in America. Huge.
Yeah.
So
he's not a huge draw here.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's not a huge draw. You might not like him, but a lot of people in America, he has a huge following. So he's pay-per-view every time.
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. No, he's not a huge draw in America. I know he's not. He only got huge pay-per-view. His first huge pay-per-view thing was when he did.
Right.
And then his second was 800,000 pay-per-views with Wilder rematch. That was 800,000. The first one was like 340,000 pay-per-views. That's the most pay-per-views Wilder's ever done in conjunction with anyone. Before that, what was Wilder's pay-per-view? I wish Americans would stop trying to gas him up and talk about he's the biggest draw. He is not the biggest draw here and even in his own country. Let's not lie to the public. Stop the lies. He ain't a massive draw. Numbers, I lie, you lie, kids lie, stats don't lie. And that's what I do. I do stats. Sorry,
like this.
We've done a whole show about it.
A lot of people will pay money to see Wilder before they pay money to
over there. Yeah, stay over there and go back to your 100,000 PPVs. Cool. But once you attach yourself to Dillian Whyte, that's the only reason why your PPVs are going to go sky high. If Wilder fought Andy Ruiz, that is not a massive draw. As a boxing fan,
actually, Lady Chann, you're wrong there. You're wrong there. And
no,
you're wrong. I have to disagree with you. Andrew Ruiz is a Mexican American. And
it's not a massive
in
draw.
California, Texas.
He's fighting Chris Ariola, and we don't care.
So Andrew Ruiz is a big
he's fighting Chris Ariola. He was the former heavyweight champ, and you've come back after a couple years, whatever, and you're coming to fight Chris Ariola. It's not on pay-per-view for us because they knew we ain't buying it. So it don't even matter, and it's pay-per-view. And my American friends are pissed that they have to spend, I think it's $50, $60. Drop me out, mate. Drop me completely out. Wilder ain't a draw. Let's have it right. On to the next thing.
Can I just ask Manny?
I hate when people just say these things and it's not the truth. No disrespect my G, but he's not a draw like that.
I just want to ask for Manny's opinion. Where do you think Wilder will go next?
He has to fight Fury again.
You think he'll just wait for Fury? Just wait for Fury.
He's got to fight Fury. He's got the trilogy has to happen. Contractually, it has to happen anyway.
So you don't believe the AJ Fury fight will take place?
Well, I believe it will. it will. But eventually. It's in the contract. They're going to have to pay him to step aside, which is going to be good for him, really. Because
they're talking about $7 million. That's a $7 million article.
It looks like it's been paid off already. Remember when he was on Instagram, where we looked like when he was going live? What did you think Wilder wanted to go back in that ring a third time? That was all cap, yeah.
Yeah, but hold on, Lady Chann. He's a big draw. He gets $7 million for not even boxing.
Good. Yeah, why not? Because all he was doing is hold up the bloody division.
I'll take $700,000 for not boxing any day of the week. Forget $7 million.
I wish I could get paid for not boxing.
Me too. I'd be hella rich. No, I just don't think Wilder wanted that next fight. I think we keep it. Don't get it twisted, yeah. I would love to see Wilder come back out and box because I want to gauge where he's at. Like, I would watch it. If it was pay-per-view, I'm not saying I would still buy it. But what I'm saying, overall, it's not a massive draw. Not a lot of people think like how I think. I'm just into the sport. But I would watch it. And I would hope that he actually comes back because there's some massive fights for him out there. But the reality of it is I don't think he's coming back. He's said nothing. This was the gobbiest geezer when Anthony Joshua lost. When this one lost, he was quickly up on Instagram, laughing off the place. As soon as we've had conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory matching the X-Files, Mully and Sculder or Scully and Mulder, whatever their names was. That's all we've seen. Let's talk. Ring.
All right, Manny. I haven't asked you this before. We were slightly digressing, but someone's trainer spiking the water. What's your whole take on that situation? I've never asked you this question. That's why I'm asking you like on live.
Wild.
You know what? I've heard a lot of strange things. You know, I've seen a lot of strange things in the locker room, but that is as absurd gets, man. I mean, I literally don't understand why your trainer, who you're paying, you know, would try to sabotage his own fighter for what benefit? I still can't get my head around that claim. That is just ridiculous. You know, then he talked about his suit was heavy, and it was a lot of excuses that did him no favors, man. He should have just kept his mouth shut and taken his L and just bounced back, because he lost a lot of credibility, man. There was a lot of bullshit that came out of his mouth talking that shit. That's just my opinion. I just can't understand why, you know. And I watched the interview with his trainer talking about, like, dude, like, there's a lot of stuff that was going on in the gym that contributed to Wilder's demise, like not listening to trainers, you know, coming in late for training, like that shit don't fly, man. You have to in the South, in America, they say you got to go with the horse that brung you. Like, you don't change shit up because you make a little bread, you know what I'm saying? You start doing shit that's not benefiting you. You gotta keep your head down and just, you know what I'm saying, keep grinding, man. When you get to the top, it's harder. I ain't even got to the top, and I know when I get to the top, it's gonna be hard. You know what I'm saying? You gotta keep working, man. You can't start changing, you know, strategies when you know what I'm saying, the shit that works, you gotta stick with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. And he was apparently he was doing a lot of shit that was just, you know, not benefiting him. Then you can come out and start making. Is it hard to do?
Is it hard to do them early runs in the morning when you're wearing silk pajamas?
Hey, I don't got no silk pajamas. And I know it, man. And I still ain't got no silk pajamas. It's hard, man. It's hard. It's never gonna be easy, man. No matter how willing you are, that shit right there it's for special people, man. Trust me. That shit ain't easy, man. We box in the same gym. You know how hard that shit is.
That shit's hard, man. Shit's hard. Shit. You know, you get a punch in the face is no joke, man. Like, people can talk and say this and that. Yeah. It ain't easy, man. We know from that House of Champions gym, it ain't easy. It ain't easy. You can barely breathe after throwing like 4 punches. It's hard, man.
That's why when I see that, Kenny, when you talk about Chisora selling pay-per-view, man, let that man eat, man.
Hey, no, bro. You know what I'm thinking about? I'm talking about fighters coming up, man. That guy is taking food out of other fighters' mouths. You know, his chance is gone. Every time he's fought at the highest level, it's always a loss. All right, they say it's a spectacular loss, but I'm going to buy it, right? But you know the drill, right? You know the drill that when he fights Parker, he's going to David Haye's going to say that he's in the best shape of his life, that he's hitting the pads harder, that he's running all these sprints, he's breaking all the records at 38, by the way, breaking all these like cardio records, he's eating well, he's living a life, and all of a sudden Parker would just be dancing, boom, 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 and Chisora would be going looking for that big shot.
Yeah,
and we know that big. You know that big, yeah, but you know the big shot, right? You know, Manny, it's going to be like, what is it? Cisora's 6'1", Parker's 6'5". What is it? Oh yeah, the big overhand right. He looks like that. Bang, misses by a mile. Parker bang, 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 and runs away. And he'll come and go boom, 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 boom. Yeah, Derek, you're a hero. Come on.
We're still gonna watch it.
And then he'll gas out. And then he'll gas out.
It's got to stop. We got to stop this. Stop this, man.
Yeah, but you know what? Like,
you know what? I like watching that. Like, he's just a character. So it's just.
Yeah, I don't mind him being a character, but come on, young upcoming fighters need that money. He's taking money up. This show's got to stop, man. Stop this. Stop this. The guy can't.
All right, Kenny.
The guy's not a top fighter.
Yeah, but Kenny, Eddie Hearn specifically said, right? People are complaining about it being pay-per-view, but he said, look, it is a pay-per-view card. That's what he said. Jonas versus Katie Taylor as well.
Like that.
Yeah. The card is mad, though. The card is mad.
You say the card is mad, but I've seen cards like that over the years where that is not being pay-per-view. So basically, so what we're going to see, we're going to see Derek Chisora go up and get in Parker's face, or you know, or start throwing tables. That's that, and that's you get pay-per-view for throwing tables in press conferences.
Right.
Is that how you get pay-per-view?
Okay, look at this. Look at this way. It is a family platter at Nando's, 20 quid. Right? Look at it that way.
But even so, you know the drill. Yeah. You know what's going to happen, right? He's got slow feet. He's going to be looking around, throwing a left hook that doesn't land his target. He's going to look around, throw that club in right hand. I mean, come on. He even looked surprised when he beat Takan. He was shocked when he knocked him out. You know what I mean? I mean, everyone was jumping on me. He was going, did I just do that? You know what I mean? This is Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora, when is this going to end? What you're not going to win a title, Derek. What do you want out of boxing? You're never going to be the world champion. Never.
It's retirement money. It's retirement money.
Wait, he's made enough money. He's had pay-per-view. He's had pay-per-views coming out of his backside. What more does he want?
Yeah. Well, but the more you make, the more you spend, and he's become accustomed to a certain lifestyle that he wants to keep.
What do you mean lifestyle? He's running a farm. What's he do? He runs a farm. He don't go out climbing no more. He's got a farm. What's he need his money for?
Well, cattle need to eat.
I know the cattle need to eat, but you know what? He must have earned enough coin. Maybe he can go in business with David A. and start calling go into other sports and start calling them. But this has got to stop now. It's got to stop.
The thing is, he said he wanted to fight 4 times this year. Did I? I swear I saw an interview and he was saying I'd love to box 4 times this year.
All on pay-per-view, by the way.
Well, exactly. That can't be 4 pay-per-views.
Hey, if David Hayes is manager, he's getting pay-per-view. David Hay can sell ice to an Eskimo, man.
I know, it's incredible.
I was that Eskimo.
When David Hay looks you in the eye and tells you that Derek Cisora's got this new skill set and he's doing things differently, like he's breaking his sprint times, like he's hitting the pads really hard, he's living a life, he's changed his diet. If he looked at me and told me that, I'll believe it. But
to be fair, Chisora in the last Dillian Whyte fight was in tremendous shape. Like I've never seen. I've never seen him looking in such great condition.
Lost comfortably in the first fight. Everyone said it could have gone either way. I don't buy that. I think the referee, the scoring was generous. I thought Dillian Whyte won that unanimously. Second fight, got that to the point. Walked into the door. Oh, it was a left hook. Out cold.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay. Look, back to the topic of Povetkin versus Whyte 2. All right. So I'll aim this at Benji. COVID. All right. Povetkin had to reschedule his fight due to COVID. All right. And it's been quite a while since that November date was named. But we're here now. The fight's taking place this Saturday. Is in any way has Dillian Whyte got the advantage because he's had time to kind of get that knockout out of his system. He's had time to kind of refuel, charge up and prepare, a bit more intently for this rematch.
This has been talked about in the comments actually through this live chat. The whole COVID thing's come up. Someone said that they watched Povetkin on the pads doing the media workout and he looked lethargic. And we know that. Well, I mean, what?
Don't be fooled, man. Look, Povetkin tricks us all, man. Don't be fooled, man.
No,
Every time people say that about Povetkin, man, he's a hell of a fighter, man. He tricks us all the time.
Hey, look, this is not my opinion. I'm just voicing what someone else has said. Someone else said he didn't look great on the pads and wonders if COVID. He's still feeling the effects of it. We know long COVID exists. We know that's the thing. We know that people who've had COVID can have respiratory issues and things like that. Personally, I think if he was showing any signs of symptoms of long COVID or having any kind of respiratory problems, I don't think he'd be in the ring. He's got, he holds the belt. He's the champion. He's not going to put that on the line if he is not 100% fit.
Yeah, he was
So,
in an interview saying that. He said I took the date because I'm fully recovered.
yeah. So I mean, it's understandable that people are going to say, well, you know, he's had this illness, and maybe there are lasting effects. Will he be the same person that he was? Could that be to Whyte's advantage? I say, well, fair enough. That's something that you can mull over and debate, but I don't think he'd be allowed in the ring. I don't think he'd want to take the fight if he didn't feel he was 100% fit. So does it play into Dillian Whyte's hands more the length of time? I think it gets to a point where it's kind of irrelevant. You know, whether you spend 12 weeks in the gym or 18 months in the gym, you reach a certain level, and the thing is, you can only put yourself under, you know, that sort of training for a certain length of time. The body will only do it, you know, so much. So I think it gets to a certain point where it kind of becomes a bit of an irrelevance. So I have to say, long story short, I don't think the length of time between fights really suits. I don't think it plays an advantage to either boxer, if I'm completely honest with it. But again, it's another thing we can debate until the cows come home, but really we don't know until fight night.
Chann, what do you think? Do you think Povetkin having COVID, just kind of recovering from it, gives the advantage to Dillian Whyte?
No, because I knew that once that came up into the mix, and that would be something that would counter Dillian's win, and I don't think that's fair. So I respect Povetkin for actually setting the record straight. Everyone else can come out and say whatever they want. Oh, if Bill gets the win, oh, he won because it was Povetkin come off the back of COVID. Povetkin was quite straight and down the middle. He was like, listen, I wouldn't have taken this date if I didn't feel 100% back to what so he's discounted that. So if anybody else wants to come out with their little theories or it's null and void, because the man has already set it straight. And then Dillian's defense as well, there's always going to be, but you only beat him because he come off the back of COVID. Oh, you only beat him because he's 41. Oh, you only beat him because he didn't really have a full camp due to COVID restrictions and you did. Oh, do you know what I mean? Like, they're never going to give him like the full props if he wins. And that's what the British public, and maybe just as a whole, the boxing community, but especially the British public, are like that. Like, so they always want to try and discount somebody's achievement or somebody's win. When I respect Povetkin, he's already set the record straight. I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, Manu, we talked about the rigors of like boxing training, conditioning. It is a lot of hard work, as we know from back in the day. All right, but to have COVID, right, and then try and get back into camp.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just putting it out there. Surely, it's going to have some effect on Povetkin. Surely.
It's only a matter of time. We'll find out on Saturday. But just like any cold, flu, I mean, you get over that shit and you just, you resume training. You can't a flu. I don't think, what is it, 10 days recovery time for COVID?
Depends. 14 days sometimes. I've had a flu.
Days.
I mean, it just completely
2-3
depends.
weeks.
It
Depends on
affects different people in different ways.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to affect his preparation. I don't think it's going to affect his preparation.
Okay. Well, look. Okay, I'm going to double up on this, right? Surely that dictates the game plan for Dillian Whyte to take him late, to take the fight to the later rounds because of the effects of that COVID.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. When you've been boxing that long, when you've been boxing that long, and he's been in how many 12-round fights? Numerous 12-round fights. Way more 12-round fights than Dillian Whyte has. As you were talking about that Michael Hunter fight, you thought it was over after 6. That second wing, the second engine kicks in, the third engine kicks in. So when you're a seasoned professional like that, you find ways to last. You know, you find that third wind. You know, when it's necessary.
He's got gears. Yeah.
Got gears. You know, so Dillian Whyte needs to come with his A game. Povetkin has never ever shown. I mean, apart from the, you know why it was a big shock that Dillian Whyte got knocked out? I think because AJ put Povetkin away so quick and relatively
7. I think it was 7, right?
Round
7.
Yeah, 7. 7, yeah.
Yeah, but because he put Povetkin to sleep, I think people think, okay, Dillian Whyte gave AJ a good fight, and Dillian Whyte
out 7 as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
They knocked him on the 7th as well.
Yeah. So people are thinking, Dylan got this. Plus, Povetkin's aging. That whole age thing to me is a myth. Because I know guys. I mean, look at guys like Ray Robinson, the old school fighters. You got guys fighting in there. Look at Bernard Hopkins. It's not about your age. It's about how you take after yourself.
Yeah.
It's about, because a lot of guys, I know guys in their 20s, I smack around in the ring that should be whooping me because they have my age.
Yeah.
But they don't look after themselves the way I look after myself. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about ages. The number is not the determining factor. I know guys who've been in ring wars who have aged in the gym as a result. I know guys who drink a lot, smoke a lot, you know what I'm saying, don't eat properly. That ages your body. Now, if you're maintaining good health, that's the number doesn't mean shit. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah.
And the amount of rounds you've done ages you also. So maybe that might be a factor. But when people talk about age, it's not really the number. It's what has been done within those years that you have that ages, not the actual number. So you can see a guy who's 40 years old, but realistically, biologically, he's like 27. And a guy who's 27 who's worn his body down to you know what I'm saying? So let's not talk too much about age. Plus, when you're that heavy, you can hold it. It's a little bit different than when you're little. You know, the heavyweights can last a little bit longer. You know, they have a little bit more longevity when it comes down to it.
I do still see like signs of aging within Povetkin. Like you said, it is like
Probably will, sure. You probably will see it.
Yeah, everybody is different, but what you can't negate is genetics. And even if you keep yourself in tip-top condition, you've got a genetic predisposition to age at the time that you're aging.
Everybody's aging. There's no question about that. No question about that. Some people just live a cleaner life than others and have a predisposition to last longer. That's all I'm saying.
But I just think I've seen that. I feel that he's got definitely slower, but they always say the last thing to go is power. So that's why I'm not counting him out because of his age and that. Like I could say he's slower, but Dillian ain't the quickest person on his feet either. So it's not, that massive big difference. But yeah, I wouldn't count him out.
The determining factor for me is Dillian is not the best defensive fighter.
No, he's on front foot.
Rivas put him down. Parker put him down. AJ put him down. And I'm not saying he ain't got no chin because he could take a lick because Chisora hit him with some fucking bombs. But he gets caught. He does.
Yeah.
And when you get caught,
but doesn't everyone go down though?
But Povetkin gets caught as well though. Because even that Parker fight, so not the Parker fight, in that Price fight, before there was a time when, like towards the end, was it the third round, where Price hits him, uses his reach, and he hits him on a long left hook, and Povetkin's like all over the place. So he's always been susceptible to a bang as well.
That championship quality. Championship quality. We keep talking about him coming back, regrouping.
Yeah, but he can readjust.
Managing the rounds.
He can readjust because he's a veteran at it.
So can Dillian as well. I think he can readjust as well. You know what I mean? Is that?
Yeah, but maybe we'll see it as in this fight because remember we're just gauging Dillian of what we've seen thus far. So we can only go with what we've seen. Like,
You know what?
I
I
don't know
wish,
the skills that
I
he's
wish
acquired
Dylan had
yet.
stayed
So
with
I'd like.
Mark Tibbs. I think Dylan White.
Yes. Oh, hey, you know
think
what?
he should have stayed with
Let's
Mark
shake
Tibbs because
hands virtually. I don't understand why my
He
beef with
should go
Dillian
back
White
to it.
right now. You know my beef with Dillian White. Every time I see fighters, right, I don't understand why you get too many cooks to spoil the broth. He's got so many advisors in there, especially at the 11th hour. What the hell is Dave Caldwell doing there in the 11th hour?
I know.
What was all of
I
this?
liked him with Mark. I liked him with the Tibbs.
Yeah, definitely. All you need
the
is
thing
one
about
voice.
Mark Tibbs,
I
he's
did
a very good trainer, but
Yeah,
Jimmy Tibbs is what you call a mastermind.
Right.
yeah.
Yes.
Jimmy Tibbs, he's trained me. I've been trained by Mark and Jimmy Tibbs. I'm telling you right now, the amount of knowledge those boys got in the corner, very few trainers had.
See.
So it wasn't just Mark Tibbs. Jimmy Tibbs was in the background calling shots and telling you what to do.
He had Nigel Benn, isn't it? Nigel Benn, you know, Mark Caylor. He's had all these fighters. We took it 40 years, 40 years.
I was watching an interview of him on yesterday, and the first thing that comes to mind when it was Mark Tibbs, I was just like, Bill should go back to him. But the only reason I think they just kind of had to part ways is due to the COVID. Mark had his commitments here, and Bill was in Portugal. Otherwise, I don't think they would have parted ways, because look what they've achieved. He was like on a 11 win run under Mark Tibbs. Do you know what I mean? So really, effectively, it wasn't broken, so we didn't need to fix anything. But it was the corona interjected and messed everything up, and then he's had to try. And then you've seen the glitches now in all of these changing. Dave Caldwell, this one, that. Do you know what I mean? All right, no respect to Xavier Miller, but he's not on world trainer level. So he, and then you've got what's his name, Harold Knight in as well. It's always changes, and under Mark Tibbs it was consistency, and it reflected in his wins.
You can't have too many. You can't have too many voices telling you what to do in that one fight. It doesn't. It's just too confusing. You know what I mean? All you need is a trainer, maybe the second trainer, and you need a cutsman. That's all you need. 3 people.
Done.
Done.
What I would say about Xavier Miller, he's a friend of mine, and I'll tell you this: that guy knows boxing and he studies the game. I've been in his office where he's got notes of combinations, the fights that he's watching. I've seen it. So listen, okay.
He is. I've spoken to Xavier. I've had him on my show.
Yeah.
On my show, but there's differences between. You can know all the, but that's theory. We haven't seen it put into practice.
You can't teach experience. You can't buy experience.
Yeah, so it's all about experience. You can ace the test on paper, but then go out and then take your driving test. You can still fail.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
All right. Well, look, my opinion is, everyone gets the opportunity to prove themselves, and I think this weekend, we're going to see a lot of questions are going to be answered, because people want the answers. So watch on Saturday night.
Wins this fight on points, knockout. I'm putting my head over the parapet. Dillian Whyte.
I'm nervous. I was hoping.
You put money on that, Ken? You put money on that? You going to the bookies
on the live? You're gonna put the money on that, Ken?
I want him to win.
£5?
I want him to really win.
£5?
£5.
Yeah, it will be soul destroying if he doesn't win. I'll be gutted.
See what we've got here? A real pay-per-view where we're all feeling it in our insides, getting nervous, excitement, feeling it, really feeling it, and thinking. And the result is affecting us mentally and physically. You can feel the pain. Yeah. Not with that fight made first. Come on, mate.
No,
if you want to watch if you want to watch WWE, then fine. But this is a proper pay-per-view. Everything on the line, 50-50. Like I said, it's not repeating the revenge. It's where do you go next? Back to the drawing board or to the highest heights? That is the fight. That is what we're selling, mate. You don't even have to sell these fights. It's
make or break.
Last chance saloon for both fighters. For both fighters, mate.
All right, let's engage some of the viewers' comments as well, guys. Smash that like button, subscribe if you ain't subscribed already. Got Lady Chann, Benji, Kenny Ken, Manny Mohammed, Fabulous 5. All right, okay. Bad ball. Whyte should have taken the AJ fight because he did not. The boxing gods punished him. He's free now. Whyte Vector. Okay. Benji. All right. Okay. The AJ proposal was, in some people's eyes, very short notice. All right. Regardless of that fact, should Dillian have just taken the fight anyway and just rolled the dice?
I don't know. Possibly. I can't even remember how long ago was that. Now, seems like an age ago that happened.
I think AJ was meant to fight someone. That fight got cancelled, and then they were looking for someone. I think, yeah.
Was it around Takam sort of time, or am I going back too far?
No, it was 20. It was after the Povetkin. I think it was after the Povetkin fight. You know where they were talking about
pulled out the fight or something. It might have been when Pulev pulled out.
Because
I think it was when Pulev pulled out. I think. Yeah. I can't remember.
Right. Okay. Because I think this has happened. I think they've tried to line up. I'm getting confused because I swear they've tried to do that in the past with AJ when I've had an opponent, because I'm sure it was right because Takam was a replacement, wasn't he, for someone?
Takam was. Yeah, he was a fill-in. He was a fill-in for, who was it at the time?
I'm sure that
Miller,
Whyte was
one of the fans has helped us out.
Because that was it. Because I'm sure that Whyte's name was bandied around back then as well. It's almost like, I mean, it must be quite nice for Eddie Hearn in that. Okay, if an AJ fight falls through, I can always bring Dillian Whyte in as a backup because people are always going to want to see Dillian Whyte and AJ have a tear up because they don't like each other, and so on and so forth. But again, maybe Dillian Whyte saw that himself and thought, "Hold on, I don't want to just be used as a backup for AJ." And again, if you're gonna box AJ, you want to milk the lemon, juice the lemon. You want to get as much money out of it as possible. Yeah. So I can completely understand if Dillian's like, well, hold on, you're not giving me much chance to train and prepare. You're not giving me the sort of money that I want. So I can kind of understand that and respect that a little bit. But at the same time, when opportunity knocks, I think you have to take it. So I can see both sides of it, but it's fine me speculating online. I don't know what was proposed to Dillian Whyte in terms of money and time frame and all this sort of thing. Boxers life.
Someone is ordered, so it was 13 weeks notice. Ain't that decent enough notice?
Well, that's fair enough. Well,
just over 3 months.
Well, then, if that's the case, then perhaps he should have.
Yeah, but is that enough? Is 3 months enough time for a training camp against a top A-level fighter like AJ?
Oh yeah,
a bit
more time.
If you're of world level, it should be.
Yeah. If Whyte's offered 12, 13 weeks, and God knows out of someone's just put 5 million up, 12, 13 weeks and 5 million to fight AJ, I think he should have had his hand up, taken Eddie Hearn's arm off.
For sure.
If that's the truth.
I think it was both, a bit of both. I think it was the terms and obviously the preparation as well.
The term, I think the term probably was the biggest reason, right?
Yeah. Well, it must have been because 5 million and a 12-week training camp, and the lifespan of a boxing career is finite. and you've got to make as much money, and you've got to take your chances and your shots when you get them, then yeah, he possibly would have done. But again, we'll just kind of speculate. We don't know what's gone on behind closed doors.
What do you think? Sorry, just saying. What do you think about Ruiz and Dill?
Great
Who
fight,
are you asking?
I think. Yeah.
Like
Ruiz
everyone.
and who?
Oh, yeah,
Ruiz
great
and
fight.
Dillian.
Yeah.
Just you know, when you're just doing like matchmaking or things like
Well,
you know,
look,
wasn't there? Yeah.
I mean,
do you see what Dillian Whyte put on Andrew Ruiz's Instagram post?
Shut up.
Yeah, he put,
I don't
you know,
like
That's why Dillian White's got to win. He's got to win this fight, mate.
what did
He's
you
got to
put,
win.
Beez? I ain't seen it. What did
Oh,
you put?
shut up, Andy.
yeah. Andrew Ruiz said, "Oh, he's fighting fit, or he feels ready," and then Dillian Whyte put under that the post, "Shut up," basically.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you think, Benji, about him and Ruiz, though? What do you reckon?
Well, I think it's great. I mean, there's certain boxers, like take for instance Wilder, or we can put Fury in this as well. We can put Wilder, put Whyte in this. I'd love to see Ruiz, Povetkin, Pulev, Takam. I'd love to see those four box Wilder. I'd love to see how Fury would get on with those four. I'm not saying that those four would beat Wilder, or those four would beat Fury, or those four. Well, in the case of Povetkin, we already know he's beaten
Yeah,
Whyte. But I want to see these combinations. We're at a time now where there's lots of permutations, lots of combinations of fights in this heavyweight division that I would love to see. You know, the dark ages of the heavyweight division of 15, 20 years ago, where you had the Klitschko brothers and no one else, and it was boring, and you couldn't come up with one or two interesting matches. Them days are gone. I'm sick to death of people saying, "Oh, the heavyweight division, it's shit." It's not shit anymore. It really isn't. You've got at least 10 to 15 boxers in that division, and how you match them up, you can have very interesting, very competitive matches. And one punch can alter a fight and finish a fight. Someone's on here earlier was talking about power as well. Oh, you know, Manny has touched on this. He said that AJ hits harder than Wilder. Fair enough. I personally think in the heavyweight division, all of these guys, these are big heavyweight boxers. They've all got the power to knock each other out. Who hits harder than who is a little bit irrelevant, because it doesn't matter if AJ hits you on the chin or Wilder hits you on the chin, you're going to sleep. Do you know what I mean? And that's what makes it so fascinating.
Well, some of them get back up. We said this already, Ben. Some of them
do, some of them don't. I mean, Povetkin got up twice. Fantastic. Whyte didn't.
I mean, exactly.
Benji, the only thing about your theory, though, I understand there's some really great fights out here, but the thing about it, right, is that you're talking about great matchups. I'm talking about possible, avoidance of each other, because people are not going to want to risk missing out on their turn, i.e., getting bodied, and then they miss out on their title shot. So you're going to see a situation where these fights that you're talking about, if they're not title level, you're not going to see them.
Well, this is the politics, and you know, boxing is a physical game of chess in the ring, but there's plenty of chess going on outside the ring to do with managers, promoters, and who wants to box who. And this is why I said earlier, even, you know, okay, fair enough. I appreciate the panel completely disagree with me, and they sort of, the general consensus seems to be that if Whyte loses to Povetkin a second time, then it's career and it's game over. I completely respect that, but you can see why I also hold the opinion that if Whyte looks beatable and knockoutable, other people there are other boxers that start thinking, oh, I can use him as a rung to get myself up a little bit. Yeah. So it can actually present opportunities when you look vulnerable.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, do you know what? Like, the way you're talking about that kind of reminds me of back in the day. You know, like when we were in the rave, and it was like this pretty girl, and no one would move to the pretty girl. No one would actually even try it, right? And then one person did, and the girl actually responded, and like she seemed like she was the right person. And then all the other guys start like trying to hand after. Similar analogy, right?
Yeah,
it's true, but you got to go in there first, and you got to be in it to win it. You got to take your chance. You got to take your opportunity, because if you go for that really, really hot, fit girl, you've got to remember, all the other guys in the club are too scared to go up and there and ask her out. So
Yeah,
you could be the, you know, that girl, she's got the pick of anyone in the club. That's what people think, but she doesn't really. She only has the pick of the people that are going to come to her and ask her out.
True.
I don't know. I've gone off the, you know, if anyone wants me to matchmake them or whatever, I've done pretty well for myself. I've got a wife. But
Swipe right. Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is, though, take your shots. Lopez took his shot against Lomachenko.
Teofimo, we've got to commend him. Unified in 16 fights. Man.
No one else wanted to fight Loma. And it's the same here. Take your shots. If the shot presents itself, don't go, oh, well, shit, I might get knocked out, or he's going to be, or because someone else will come along and do it.
Right.
All right. I'm going to direct this to Manny. Manny, shouting more. Good evening, mate. Do you guys think that Whyte has learned enough from the last fight to change the outcome, or does Povetkin have his number?
I don't know if Povetkin has his number, but Whyte should have never taken him lightly in the first fight. In the first place, he should have known everything. There's nothing. Povetkin is not bringing anything different to the table. Everybody knows what Povetkin is going to do. Now it's up to you to fall victim to the same shit he's been doing to everybody he's fought, or, you know, I don't think there's anything Povetkin is going to do differently. The man's 40 years old. Well, what else could he do? He's been boxing forever. Like, he's not going to bring any new tricks to the table. He's just going to do what he does well, which is he's going to box. He's going to slip. He's going to, you know what I'm saying? He's a complete boxer. In my opinion, he's a complete boxer. So now Whyte has to understand that and be very careful, but he can't be too careful when he keeps his hands in his pocket, but he has to understand you got to protect yourself at all times. And he got caught. He's got to be better defensively, in my opinion. He's got to be better defensively and more aware to that uppercut that he keeps getting hit with. And that's a heavy shot to take from a heavy with an uppercut.
Okay. Do you, like, panel, do you think Dillian Whyte should be given a lot more credit than what some people give him? Because, to be fair, since that defeat that he suffered to AJ, back then, he takes on, like, all comers. Like, he'll fight anyone. And that's the truth. He'll fight anyone, and he's proved that, and he's got in there and done the business. And he came up short the one time, right, recent. But I don't know. I think he deserves a bit more respect from some people. I don't know. Am I wrong?
I don't think Povetkin has his number. No. Povetkin is the best of what he's gonna actually be. He's not gonna get like my man said over here. He's not gonna get any better at 40.
Povetkin's very sneaky, man. Very sneaky with a shot.
He's not gonna get better. He's just gonna be able to do, like you said, the best things, still the best. But he's not gonna have that much added to his skill set, to be fair. Whereas Dillian Whyte, what is he, 31, 32? He's got time to, still got a little minute to grow, and he's got time to add to the skill set. What we've seen was last year was the best Povetkin of last year. A year's gone by now. He's aged a year. I'm not putting everything down to age, but you have to count. You have
now 42 or how old is he? 41, 42?
41 now.
Yeah.
41. And if that was the best that we saw of him last year, and he got floored twice, we're not going to see anything better. He's just going to be able to do the good things again, whereas Dillian is going to be able to add to his arsenal and present that to Povetkin. And will Povetkin be able to deal with that? That's all.
But you know what, Beez? Wouldn't it be incredible if Povetkin was to win again? Maybe by another spectacular knockout, and they interview him, and Povetkin just looks into the camera and goes, "Life begins at 40."
Do you know what? I've got some funny feeling that you see Povetkin, you know, he's probably really fluent in English, but it's just not talking in English.
Like Canelo.
Yeah, like Canelo. They can speak English, man. I'm telling you.
He's doing the Drago thing, man. you know that everyone knows. Like if you're from that Eastern Bloc over Russia, Ukrainian, over that eastern side, the less you say and you have that Drago demeanor, puts the wind up people.
Yeah.
We've got Rocky IV to thank for that. Sometimes the less you say, the better, you know. Going back to WWE, The Undertaker made quite a career out of saying very little.
All right, look, to kind of conclude in this whole thing, all right, I need some predictions, right? Some predictions on the big fight, the mega fight this weekend, pay-per-view, Povetkin versus Whyte.
Unanimous decision.
Okay, you're going UD, Manny Muhammad, UD, Chann.
All right, I'm going knockout, 5th round.
5th round. Wow, that's all the smoke. Okay, Benji.
I don't think it goes a distance. I think if it gets towards the 10th, 11th, 12th rounds, I think that could be very interesting to see who's tired and who's got what left. I want Whyte to win. I think he can win, but I'm not massively confident in that prediction. I think Povetkin could do the double, but for the purpose of this, I'm just going to say Whyte by stoppage, probably around 8th, 9th round, maybe.
Okay. To conclude, Kenny Ken?
Whyte, 7th round. 7th round, the referee, the corner's going to throw the towel in. Whyte's going to be too strong and powerful for him.
All right, there you have it. Well, that kind of brings it all to conclusion.
Do we get a prize for whoever gets it right? We get a prize or something?
Right, innit?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the winner,
at your house.
The winner.
No. It's Manny's watch. We get Manny's watch. Whoever's right.
We get your sky dweller.
I'll just take the Jordan cap.
All right.
Low maintenance here.
The winner gets an Easter egg.
He's got to provide the prize, not me. It's his show.
Easter egg. I'll tell you what. The winner gets an Easter egg, right?
All right,
Easter egg.
That'll work.
Made out of 24 karat gold. I'll be in it.
If Chann wins, she gets a Louis bag. If Chann wins.
Mate. Yeah.
God, I'm bloody sick of them Louis bags. My wife.
I
You'd get on well with my wife, Chann. You'd get on very well with my wife.
If I win, Arsenal get a new coach.
One anyway. Let's have it right. Anyway. Sorry, Ken. This is where me and your friendships fray. They need a new coach. They need a new coach anyway.
Do we have a Tottenham fan?
Let's not wait too long for that.
Is Chann a Tottenham fan?
No, I'm Arsenal, mate. No Spurs fans allowed.
Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm Chelsea, love. Sorry.
Wow, I thought you was West Ham.
Nah, not West Ham. I live near, not too close, but no, I'm not a West Ham supporter.
Chelsea. Chann. Okay.
Hey, I only support the best.
Chelsea.
I only support the Reds. The best.
Hey, guys,
Liverpool, yeah?
Guys, I'm going to have to love you and leave you.
All right. We're going to be out anyway, yeah.
Hey, it's nice meeting y'all. Y'all have a
All
good
right,
night.
Guys, my back's dying. Man, I'm so sorry. My back's dying.
Thanks, everyone, joining the live stream. Remember, subscribe to all the channels. Lady Chann's channel, Benji's channel. Follow Kenny Ken, Manny Muhammad. We out here. Peace.
Peace and love.
Luke.